It's a good question. Now, the materialist scientists of the Renaissance, so in the Renaissance, Lucretius' poem was discovered again. There was one copy of it. They all read Lucretius, so Lucretius was an influence upon them. As for Lucretius's own attitude towards the inquiries of what we would call natural scientists at the time, they're very uneven. He does seem to possess a pretty good imagination when it comes to what we would call chemical processes. What makes up molecules and how the features of the molecules are shown forth in the types of structures that they create. So, why would you have something that's viscous like honey rather than freely flowing like water? Well, it has to do, Lucretius, it has to do with the kind of atoms that they make up. And we will now know that it has to do with the molecules and their electrical connections with each other. But he shows no interest whatsoever in what would be real natural scientific inquiry when it comes to geology or astronomy. In fact, he's very poor at those things. He simply doesn't care. So if you wish, for instance, to try to estimate the size of the sun, okay, Lucretius just brushes the question aside, says, because our senses are reliable, says, the sun is pretty much as big as it appears to us to be. Maybe a little bigger, maybe a little smaller. And the stars are about as big as they appear to be. Maybe teeny weeny, little bit bigger, teeny weeny, little bit small. That's all. He's not interested in finding out what actually accounts for eclipses. Now, astronomers of his own time, they could predict eclipses because they knew what was going on in an eclipse. He's not interested. It could be this, it could be that, it could be crazy things that he thinks up, right? Maybe the sun, when it sets in the west, maybe the flame goes completely out and is rekindled again when it rises in the east, right? It doesn't matter to him. What matters most to him, and here is an interesting connection between him and certain kinds of atheists right now. The actual scientific facts don't matter to him one way or the other. The main thing is, whatever it is, it's not done by the gods, okay? So in many regards, he's actually a rather poor scientist. He says, I base all that I have here on rational inquiry, but really it's rational inquiry that's motivated by something that is absolutely necessary, right? It's the sine qua non. Whatever explanation we come up with, it has to be one that does not involve any gods. So long as the explanation fits that, okay, then we're fine. And we have to also arrive at a point where there's no survival of the human being after death. So we have nothing to fear from death, okay? No influence upon the on us from the gods, okay? Everything has a natural cause, and I don't even care what it is. And everything has a material basis. Everything is only material. And who the heck even knows why we remember things or why we imagine things? It doesn't really matter. I can come up with far-fetched explanations for it just so long as they don't involve the gods.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's great.